In August 2005, a monster hurricane was brewing over the Gulf of Mexico. The monster was named Hurricane Katrina. In just a few days, it became one of the most devastating natural disasters in history. The city that was once a symbol of music, celebration, and life, New Orleans became a city of death and destruction. August 23, 2005, a low-pressure system formed in the ocean near the Bahamas. Warm water and moisture gave the low-pressure strength. It quickly grew into a tropical storm named Katrina. Within 2 days, it became a Category 5 hurricane with winds of up to 175 miles per hour. Meteorologists have been warning since then. If this storm were to make a direct hit on New Orleans, the city would not survive. New Orleans was a unique city full of jazz music, festivals, and French architecture, but much of the city was below sea level. Massive levees and pumping systems were built to protect the city, but they had been neglected for years. No one thought that the failure of these levees would one day engulf the entire city. Sunday night, August 28th, the sky turned black. The wind roared like a flood. A storm was approaching. The authorities ordered people to evacuate, but not everyone could go. Many of the poor and elderly stayed home. Some thought, "We've had storms before. This one too will pass." August 29th, 6 a.m. Katrina hit. The storm speed was more than 200 kilometers per hour, but the real nightmare had not yet begun. The storm's impact broke one levee after another. The levee system failed. The Mississippi River and Lake Pontchartrain flooded the city. In just a few hours, 80% of New Orleans was underwater. Houses were being swept away, cars were being submerged. People were taking shelter on their roofs. Thousands of people were trapped in their roofs, with no water, food, or communication. The next 3 days were hell. Bodies were floating in the floodwaters, and panic spread through the city. The Superdome Stadium was open as a shelter, but there were thousands of people there. None of the toilets were working properly, and food was scarce. People were waiting for government help, but the help was slow to arrive. Some were saying, "We're not in America, we're in a third world country." The lack of coordination between FEMA and local governments was serious. Thousands of people could have been saved if action had been taken quickly. The administration of President George W. Bush came under fire. Why did they react so late? Why did the army and rescue teams arrive so late? An investigation later found that government warnings were ignored and that mistake cost thousands of lives. One woman said, "I was on the roof for 3 days with my child in my arms. There was no water, no food. Another old man said, "My wife was swept away by the current. I couldn't do anything." These stories shook America. This was not just a natural disaster, a humanitarian disaster. The storm passed, but the scars remained for years. More than 400,000 people lost their homes. New Orleans slowly began to rebuild. The levees were reinforced, flood management program, but the city spirit lived on in its people. Through music, festivals, and mutual support, New Orleans rose to life again. Katrina taught America a great lesson: no one is invincible against nature. Preparation, coordination, and humanity. Without these three, no city is safe. Since then, the hurricane warning system in the United States has been completely modernized. New emergency response units have been formed, and new technology has been installed to protect New Orleans. Hurricane Katrina was a storm, but its impact was a monumental one. It destroyed a city, but it awakened the power of humanity. New Orleans may have sunk, but its spirit still lives on in music, unity, and stories of survival.